Mortal Kombat 11 was a very successful game. Not only did it sell tons of copies, but many players remember it fondly. I'm not one of those players though. Don't get it twisted, I like the roster, and at first I did enjoy playing it for a few good months, but I'll never play it again, because Mortal Kombat 11 makes me miserable. Now that doesn't mean you're wrong for liking it. In fact, I'm happy that you enjoy playing Mortal Kombat 11, but it's my channel and I'm making this video, and today I feel like ranting. So since most people like rants, let's talk about why I hate MK11. Number 1. The game's core mechanics are extremely biased. Unlike in every game before and after, MK11 is extremely unfair to its characters. One of the best examples is Breakaway, a bizarre and new version of Combo Breaker that's worse in every way. This mechanic only lets you escape combos if you're launched, otherwise you're forced to keep getting hit, which means the characters who can keep you grounded for most of their combo have a huge advantage, whereas other characters who rely on launchers to start their combos are basically screwed. The fact the game restricts certain players this heavily is insane, and until armor-breaking attacks were added over 1 year later, characters like Shao Kahn had a very tough time finishing any combos. The next best example is crushing blows. Some characters have a ton, while other characters have almost zero. And when I say that, I'm not referring to the literal number of crushing blows a character has. I'm referring to the crushing blows they can actually make happen during a match. In that regard, Johnny Cage has almost none, while Liu Kang is guaranteed at least 5 crushing blows in a single match. If you think I'm exaggerating, I must assure you I'm not. Another great example is Garrus before he got nerfed. The guy was landing tons of crushing blows every single match, to the point where it became a meme. Meanwhile, Shao Kahn was lucky to land 1, and even luckier if anybody played him at all, since he was low tier. In my honest opinion, it looks like NetherRealm never finished MK11, which is why the crushing blows are so unbalanced and all over the place. The sheer lack of balance for this one game mechanic is ridiculous. For Pete's sake, Cabal has the same requirement on 5 different crushing blows. That's right, 5 different moves with the same requirement to get crushing blow. You can't convince me that was intentional. I think they were placeholders and meant to be changed later, but the game was so rushed that developers forgot to fix it. And as a result, Cabal is left with 5 crushing blows that all get activated the exact same way, which I don't think was intentional. Finally, we have the armor breaking attacks. As mentioned earlier, these were added to the game nearly 1 year after it released. Armor breaking attacks can beat certain wake-ups and also snuff fatal blow attacks, but their main use was countering breakaway. If you knew the opponent would try to escape the combo, then you could catch them with an armor breaker, which sounds really good on paper, but like everything else so far, it was extremely biased. For some characters, the armor break relaunched the opponent to extend combos. That's right, you got a second combo, it was amazing. But for other characters, it just knocked them down. Hooray! That's right, character A predicted the breakaway and got a full second combo, whereas character B got a knockdown. Wow, amazing. For the really unlucky characters, the armor break was too slow to even work in most scenarios. How fun! But don't worry, it gets even worse, because some characters didn't even have armor break by default. That's right, it was not part of their base kit. Mortal Kombat 11 had the option to mix and match your special moves to create unique playstyles, which sounded really cool. But the issue is, some characters had all their basic attacks by default, and the custom slots were just to add things on, whereas other characters were very lacking by default, and you had to waste 1 or 2 slots on crucial moves, so the creativity was almost gone for certain characters. You only had 1 free slot, instead of 3 free slots that other characters got. And for the unlucky characters, they had to waste a slot on their armor break, because it wasn't there by default. This game is honestly so frustrating to even talk about. I'm actually getting mad while explaining it. Some characters even lost a great move by using the armor break, because the input was the same and the game wouldn't let you use both. So for example, Jax's gotcha grab. It's one of his best moves in the game. It even re-stands against the wall, it's great for ending combos, all that incredible stuff. But if you wanted armor breaker, then you had to ditch that move for his clap, which only was good against beating combos, otherwise it kind of sucked. So as the player, you had to decide, do you want a really good move that's great for re-stands and ending combos, or do you want the armor break, which, reminder, some characters get by default, but just not your character. For most fighting games, your character's tier rank is based on how good they are by themselves, but in Mortal Kombat 11, it was by how little the game itself screwed you over. If the game's core mechanics didn't actively get in your way, then the character was good. But if the character had tons of launchers, get f***ed. If your character had complex crushing blows, get fucked. If your character didn't have a good armor break, get fucked. Despite having a very fun roster with great characters, I will always hate Mortal Kombat 11 for this one reason. The game itself is extremely biased towards certain characters and actively limits your freedom, which is very ironic for a game that pretends to let you have it your way. And by the way, we're still on number 1. Time for number 2, the handholding. Mortal Kombat 11 was made super easy to play on purpose. Almost everything new in this game is catering to beginners. For anyone who disagrees with that statement, look at the meter. That's right, it refills on its own. You can do absolutely nothing and still build meter for combos, breakaway, and everything else. This was done solely to make the game easy for beginners, and it heavily favored boring players who like to run away a lot, since the game rewarded this behavior with free meter. Another great example is fatal blows. In every past game, your big super attack required meter, which you had to build up before using, and if you missed your big super, then too bad, because your meter is gone now. But Mortal Kombat 11 created fatal blows, which show up when you're low on life. That's right, you gain access to your super move by sucking. Other fighting games have done this before though, like Street Fighter 4 and Tekken 8, but Mortal Kombat 11 is the noobiest of them all, because the fatal blow comes back if you miss. Yep, that's right, even if you miss the big fatal blow, just run away for 5 seconds and you'll get it back, little baby. No reason to cry over spilled milk, because this game puts the milk back into the bottle for you. Mortal Kombat 1 does this too, which is also annoying. I don't want anyone watching to think for 1 second that Mortal Kombat 1 gets a pass, because it doesn't. But at least in Mortal Kombat 1, you can combo breaker the fatal blow, which is not possible in Mortal Kombat 11, plus there was no screen freeze either, which meant that even the dumbest player could land them, especially the unreactable ones. And I mean that literally, unreactable super moves, as in no human on Earth can see them coming. We're talking 15 frames, 12 frames, sometimes 10 or even 8 frames on startup. That's remarkably fast. Just in case anybody watching is not aware, 16 frames is the fastest any human being can react to literally anything. So yes, these fatal blows were unreactable. Oh, and they had armor too, so they can interrupt anything you're doing, which was also super annoying. If you went for any attack at all, your opponent could just armor through it, because fatal blows had armor at the very start and an infinite number of hits too, which meant your only option was blocking or dodging, but many of them were unreactable, so that wasn't an option. Now thankfully NetherRealm did nerf the armor a bit later on, but for the first few months it was extremely annoying. There was no way to beat fatal blows. They were too fast and had armor instantly, because like mentioned earlier, MK11 was for casuals, the extreme casuals. Last but not least, we have the crushing blows, which were also invented for beginners, because many new fighting game players have a hard time doing combos, but they still want that big boy damage, because it feels good to get big boy damage. NetherRealm's solution to this was crushing blows. For just 3 hits or so, you got the same damage as a full combo. If you got lucky with a counter hit, combo damage. If you got lucky with the projectile, full combo damage. If you landed 2 throws but the opponent failed to break one, full combo damage. Or if you just felt like spamming uppercut, full combo damage. I absolutely despise this mechanic because it felt unearned. Many of these crushing blows relied on counter hits, meaning the player wasn't even in control of when they got them. Your opponent had to be pressing a button too, and you had no way of knowing when they would press or when they would block, so you just got lucky with a lot of these crushing blows. And the same thing goes for throws. You have zero control over the opponent failing to break your throw. It's just a 50-50 guess, a literal coin flip. There were very few crushing blows that relied on skill, like landing a long combo or landing the same attack 4 times. Instead, most crushing blows were counter hits and other aspects that relied on the opponent. It was honestly very annoying to complete a full combo only for your opponent to throw you twice and get 34% damage. I don't mean to sound elitist when I say this, but big damage in fighting games is supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to learn how to get that damage through practice, trial and error, that stuff. The game itself is not supposed to hand damage to you. That's not fun, it's just not fighting games. But that's what Mortal Kombat 11 did. If the crushing blow actually required skill, like some of them do, then fine, I don't mind those, I think they're fun. But the ones that just happen on accident can suck on my stones. As a fighting game player of many years, it's way more satisfying when a game rewards you for practicing and mastering skills. As in, the more skilled you become, the more the game satisfies you. Mortal Kombat 11 does the opposite. It appeals to beginners, which is fine, but I personally hate it. Number 3, the custom variations are a lie. This game pretends you can have it your way, but it's not really Burger King. While the game does give you 3 slots to mix and match different moves and make your own custom character, the reality is that every character had a best combination of moves to choose. And after about the first week or so, every player learned that best variation. If you wanted to win matches consistently, then you had to use that exact build. If you wanted to win tournaments, you had to use that exact build. However, that's just the lucky characters, because some fighters had to lose 1 or 2 slots just to get access to basic moves, like combo starters or armor breakers or decent mobility. By the time you were done adding these essential moves, there wasn't much left to customize. Then on top of that, many of these custom moves weren't even good, so you would just skip over them. And I don't mean they were bad competitively. Well, I do, but there's more to it. Sometimes a move can be bad, but still fun to use. This is not one of those cases. Tons of characters in Mortal Kombat 11 had moves that were just bad, as in bad for wins and also just unfun to use. The double whammy, actually bad moves. A great example is Raiden's Thundercloud. Like, what is this for? It's not fun to use, it's not useful either, it adds nothing to his gameplay, it sucks. Tons of characters in Mortal Kombat 11 had moves that were unfun and also bad. Now thankfully, there were certain characters that you did have fun customizing, but it was rare. For the most part, there was either an ideal build, or you wasted half of your slots just making your character capable, or sometimes nearly every custom move was not fun. And honestly, at the end of the day, I prefer when games give me access to the entire move list at once. It's just more fun that way and doesn't limit how I play the character. If you think Mortal Kombat 11 actually lets you customize the character's playstyle, then you haven't played it very much. Or maybe you just play with friends, which is completely fine, but my main point is this: custom variations are a lie in Mortal Kombat 11. Alright everyone, there you have it. The main reasons I hate Mortal Kombat 11 and will most likely never play it again. Even though I love Frost and Shao Kahn, Jackie Briggs, they're fun to play, but overall, the game itself is just so frustrating for me. Mortal Kombat 11 is my personal kryptonite, but like mentioned earlier, it's okay if you like the game. I don't want to take away from that. In fact, I'm happy if you enjoy the game. That's great. Just please do me a favor and never ask me to play.